Hello again. So everyone in the DST world claims to be an expert, but who you are really matters. You need to know who you are dealing with. Who is Sera Capital? You need to know when you're calling other people, perhaps that isn't Sera Capital, you want to find out who they are. So let me tell you about us. We are an independent, family-owned fiduciary since 1990. That's 35 years of being a fiduciary, okay? I started the business. Now my son Carl runs the business. He's been with me for almost 20 years in a professional capacity, of course. He's been with me for 40 years, but professionally for only 20. Anyway, my son Joe's in the business. My nephew Roman's in the business. We are committed to the business of fiduciary DST work. Our job has always been to solve people's problems. We don't come about saying this is the solution, but when you speak with 1,000 people a year, what you find is, if you're listening, is that they tell you the solutions that they want. They tell you what's important to them. In fact, they've come up with some of the better and more innovative techniques that we've used for our exit planning because they've taught us. So that's part of what we do. In general, what our job is to help people selling highly appreciated real estate, in some cases highly appreciated businesses, to either defer or avoid taxes altogether. But most of our work is in real estate. And the bulk of our work within the real estate world comes down to two solutions. The first one, which is by far the most popular, is what we call the 721 DST, which is where an investor sells their property, the money goes to the QI via traditional 1031 route. The QI sends the money to a sponsor. We're talking big sponsors, companies like Invesco and the Nuveen's and the Hines and the Starwoods and Brookfield's trillion-dollar money managers. And then after a couple of years, that money converts to the Nuveen or Invesco or Hines REIT, and now they own that REIT forever. And of course, we have ways of getting out of the REIT if you'd like, tax efficiently, but most people don't. They really, when you go from active management to real estate to passive, what you're looking for is predictability, diversification geographically and by asset class, and that's what we provide. Our second solution is what we call the 85% solution. We do have some investors who find themselves extremely real estate heavy or for whatever reason want to create some liquidity. And we have a particular solution where for every, let's say, $1 million you invest, after a certain period of time, you can withdraw 85% of it on a non-recourse basis, tax-free, to do whatever you want with it, okay? Again, Sera Capital was built from scratch. Our job has always been to solve problems. In fact, we got into the DST business because we were solving a problem for our client. We had a client who was 77 years old, was selling a highly appreciated piece of real estate for $2.5 million, had it for 30, 40 years. The tax was going to be $800,000, and we couldn't let that happen. So we dug deep. We found out, we didn't even know what a 1031 was at the time. We found out what it was. We figured that there was a way to solve it called the Delaware Statutory Trust. We spent about a year doing due diligence on this, making sure that we understood the mechanism and the players and whether this was even real, quite frankly. And when we did, we came up with a solution. She paid no taxes. The $800 was saved. Her income was more than double what she would have been on a traditional financial planning basis. And so that's how we got. We have total access to more DSTs than anyone that we know of. And what we really focus on is just straight answers, transparency, low fees, making sure that our clients are in good investments. And by good investments, one of the things that I will always say to people is this, because we get calls weekly from some DST sponsor from somewhere who's trying to say, hey, use our DST. We want to have Sera Capital sell our DST or promote our DST or recommend our DST. And what we always look for is this sponsor going to be around 20, 30, 40 years from now? We look for predictability. We look for stability. We look for a great management team. We look for a great culture. And when we find that, we're very happy to promote it. So if you got any questions, what you can always do is get on a call with, get on our calendar and get on a call. You'll be speaking with me, 20 minutes of picking my brain. I'll know, you can tell me your situation. We do weekly office hours as well. So you can book a call for weekly office hours if you're interested in that, and be part of a group if you don't want to divulge your state secrets or something like that. So let us know, and hopefully you've learned something.